Hi friends, in this video I shall be talking about a very interesting subject on the mind and hypnosis. How does the mind work and what is hypnosis? These are the two things which I largely propose to cover in this interesting video. So please listen to it very carefully, very attentively. Let me share with you my research findings of a lot of years into this subject matter. First, let's start with what is the mind? How does the mind work? Science stroke doctors call it the brain. Metaphysicists and seekers of spiritual knowledge call it the mind. So whether you connote it as the brain or the mind doesn't make a difference. End of the day, what matters is the underlying subject. So let's try and understand from the perspective of a metaphysicist how the mind works, or what is the mind, what constitutes the mind. There are two limbs of our mind. One is known as the conscious mind and the other limb is known as the subconscious mind. Most of us would have heard these terms before, the conscious mind and the subconscious stroke the unconscious mind. The subconscious mind is also sometimes known as the unconscious mind. Now, what's the difference between conscious and subconscious? Let's try and understand that. So let me give you a formula. A is equal to B plus C, where A stands for mind, B stands for conscious mind and C stands for subconscious mind. Now what is this B and C? What is the conscious mind? Conscious mind, simplistically understood, is the mind with which we think, the mind with which we continuously talk. Each one of us, all through the day, while we are awake, while we are at work, while we are resting, when we are awake, basically, we are constantly talking to our mind. We are talking to ourselves. That talking to ourselves is nothing but talking to our conscious mind. So that's the conscious mind. It's very easy for each one of us to understand what the conscious mind is. The mind with which we talk. And what's the subconscious mind? The subconscious mind is something which lies deeper within us. It lies beyond the conscious mind. The conscious mind, in a way, creates a veil between the body and the subconscious mind which lies beyond it. So if I have to simplistically explain it, this is the body, here is the body, here is the veil of the conscious mind, and then the subconscious mind lies beyond. So the conscious mind is always acting as a wall between the body and the subconscious mind. That's the role of the conscious mind. One, to constantly talk to the body and keep an influence or control over it while the body is awake, and secondly, stop the body from connecting with the subconscious mind. The conscious mind, if I have to look into the traits of the conscious mind and the subconscious mind, the conscious mind is very, very logical, very, very result oriented and highly conservative in nature. The conscious mind only knows to guide you with the most conservative, safe and non-risky proposition which is available to your predicament or question. That's how a conscious mind works. The subconscious mind, on the other hand, is extremely intuitive, highly borderless and very, very the right term to explain the subconscious mind is, it is infinite or near infinite. So conscious mind and subconscious mind, while both have the word mind in common, they have nothing else but the word mind in common. They are kind of polar opposites of each other. The conscious mind is logical, rational, conservative and lives within a boundary, a very shallow and small boundary, a boundary of conservatism. The subconscious mind, on the other hand, is highly intuitive, highly kind of a subjective phenomenon, and it knows no boundaries. They are very different from each other. And the goal of the conscious mind is always to lay a trap and ensure that it is keeping a control on the body. Now, the next question. Who amongst the two is stronger? But obvious, the subconscious mind is the one where power rests, is the more powerful body, is the more powerful entity which is existing in our body. The conscious mind, being inferior, being shallow, being something which lives within limits, always lives insecure in the body and hence tries to create a veil between the body and the subconscious mind. Science or metaphysics calls it as conscious and subconscious mind. If you look at it from a spiritual perspective, the Bhagavad Gita calls it as the Jivatma and the Paramatma, which is vesting in every human body. The Bible calls it the soul and the inner self. So different religions have given different connotations to the concept. Science has given a different connotation to it, but bottom line remains the same. So this is how the conscious and the subconscious mind vest within every human body. 90% of the world lives in the trap of its conscious mind. We are all slaves to what our conscious mind is guiding us towards. That's the biggest paradox of the situation. 10% of the world is lucky or privileged enough to peep beyond or tear the veil created by the conscious mind between the body and the subconscious and reach the subconscious mind. When you reach the subconscious mind, that's where that near infinite power which vests within every single person actually lies. If you do a case study of all great people around us, great leaders, great sportsmen, great politicians, great philosophers, great scientists, the kind of success they achieved was second to none. So when I look at an Albert Einstein, or when I look at a cricketer like Sachin Tendulkar, or when I look at a noble person like Mother Teresa, when I look at these people, there are many other social reformers in the world. There are many other cricketers in the world, but very few could become as great as a Sachin Tendulkar or as great a philanthropist and social worker as Mother Teresa. So what distinguished them from the rest? There were two things which distinguished them from the rest. One was their karmic destiny. They were destined to be Sachin Tendulkar and Mother Teresa respectively. And second was their ability to connect with their subconscious mind. People who are great or who have achieved great pedestals in their life, professional, academic, social, or any other walk of life, are people who have either by design connected and used their subconscious to achieve what they have achieved, or accidentally used their subconscious to achieve what they have achieved, of course coupled with their karmic destiny that they were supposed to be that great. Of course, karmic destiny without using the powers of the subconscious mind, and the person will not achieve what he has to achieve. Likewise, simply using the power of your subconscious mind without having a karmic destiny to achieve something will also not take you there. I'll cover this some other day in some other video. How does the law of karma and how does mind power work in sync with each other? It's a very involved topic, so I shall touch upon that separately. But coming back to the topic which we are discussing, every great man or every great person who has achieved a big gone to a big pedestal in life would have knowingly or unknowingly used the powers of his subconscious mind. So the subconscious mind is a very powerful tool to exist within all of us. Point is, how many of us are really using it, connecting with it and using it, and how many others are not? As I see it, 90% of the world doesn't use it or doesn't even know that a subconscious mind exists within us. The next question is, what is hypnosis, or what does hypnosis have to do with the subconscious mind? Now, if I look at it from a scientific standpoint, there are 5 states of the mind, and these can also be electronically measured by means of a device. This process is known as EEG or electroencephalography, by virtue of which, putting certain gadgets over your head, you can actually make out what state the brain is currently in. There are 5 states in which the mind or the brain could be in. What are those 5 states? They are known as beta, alpha, theta, delta and gamma. So I'll once again repeat beta, alpha, theta, delta and gamma. Now the first 3, I remember it as BAT, B-A-T, beta, alpha and then theta. The first 3 is where most normal human beings hover around. The beta state is the state where you are connected with your conscious mind, where you are thinking. And when you are connected with your conscious mind, by default, you cannot be connected with your subconscious mind. That's the rule. The only way to connect with your subconscious mind is by losing the body's connect with the conscious mind. So, as a corollary, if you are thinking and talking to your conscious mind, your self-talking, you are in the beta stage and you can never be connected to your subconscious in that situation. Next is the alpha stage. What is the alpha stage? Alpha stage is a stage of mild relaxation. So let's say you have come home after a busy day at work. All through the day you were in the beta stage and your mind was in the beta stage, and now you come back home, you have a glass of fresh lime juice and you sit on your recliner, close your eyes with the earphone in your ears and you are listening to soft music. At this juncture your focus is only on the music. You have the beverage to kind of give your body a soothing and calm feeling. The AC is on, you are relaxing. So this stage is the alpha stage, where your mind has come out of the clutter of the conscious mind and somewhere it is moving towards relaxation. The third stage is known as the theta stage. What is the theta stage? The theta stage is achieved when the body is completely disconnected from the conscious mind. So this typically happens when you are sleeping at night. At night, with your body, your mind, the conscious mind also goes to sleep. Because if the body is not awake, there is nothing for the conscious mind to work on. And that's why the conscious mind also rests when the body is sleeping. And in that situation, you will attain the theta stage when you are having a dreamless sleep. Some nights, while we are sleeping, we are still having violent dreams, and that does not give us good sleep. And that situation where you are not having good sleep is not the theta. You have not attained the theta stage. There you are again in the alpha stage. You have not touched the theta stage. The definition of theta stage is where you are having absolute peace of mind in your sleep and you are not dreaming at that point of time. Deep sleep is what defines theta stage. The role of hypnotherapist is to help you attain the theta stage while you are awake. And when you hit the theta stage, that's where you connect with your subconscious. The subconscious mind is a powerhouse which gives you all the requisite motivation, all the requisite feel-good elements that you need in your life to have a happy existence. Mental happiness is what rests in the subconscious mind, while your conscious mind could give you material happiness. What is material happiness? Wealth, money, position in office, cars, houses. These are material possessions. These give you material happiness. But if you are in quest for mental happiness, peace of mind, so what is mental happiness? Everything else every happiness which money or money's worth cannot buy for you. That happiness rests in your subconscious mind, and that can be tapped only when you are in the theta stage. When you get up in the morning, correct me if I am wrong, every morning when you get up after a good sleep, you have had a good sleep last night, you get up fresh, you are chirpy, you have happiness in your mind as the first emotion as you get up. Why does that happen? Because you have got your dose, 7-hour, 8-hour dose of connect with your subconscious mind in the theta stage, and that keeps you rejuvenated, gives you the energy to sail through another difficult day at work or another difficult day at office. So that's the power of one of the powers of the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind is like it is an endless pitcher which has tons and tons of good things in store for you. This is one of the things which comes out of the pitcher, that calm, that peace of mind, that mental happiness, when you start connecting with your subconscious mind. Yes, it has a lot more to offer. The subconscious mind is also like a recorder. It's like a device which records and stores for you your journey on earth. As a Jivatma, as I sit in front of you and talk to you today, I am born in this birth as a human being. Before this, I would have taken several births, I would have had several births. After this, I may have several more before I attain salvation or moksha, the ultimate reality. In this journey, long journey of several births, I have lived several lifetimes. A record of all these lifetimes that I have spent on earth gets stored in my subconscious mind. And so one of the other uses of the theta stage, reaching the theta stage, is things like treating ailments through hypnotherapy or past life regression for that matter. What is past life regression? I shall cover in greater detail in another video some other day, but in a nutshell, in one line, if I have to explain it, past life regression means exploring that particular drive of your pen drive called the subconscious mind. The pen drive called the subconscious mind has different folders or sub drives within it. So let's assume there is a sub drive A within your pen drive where data of your prior births is stored. So past life regression is about going into that sub drive where data of your past life is stored, peeping into your past life and pulling out some learnings or lessons out of it. People who have phobias, unexplained phobias, or unexplained fear psychosis in their mind, or habits which are very weird, those kind of, and people are not just able to overcome that particular habit. Somewhere that particular habit or that phobia or fear may possibly have some connect to the prior birth of that particular person, some prior birth of that particular person. So I have seen as a past life regressionist and that a lot of such cases find a resolution to their problem. The people lose out on their fear, phobia, or on that habit of theirs once they have actually gone into regression, past life regression, seen their past life and understood the logic or the reason behind that particular thing happening in this particular birth. Now, having said this, of course I have seen a lot of other, while I do it on a very small basis, on a small scale, I have seen a lot of learned people. For example, Dr. Brian Weiss, I have seen him perform past life regressions as well. He is considered as the best PLR coach in the world. He also has not hit 100% success. In fact, the level of success in past life regression is limited. It all depends on the subject, how strong, how good the subject is in terms of connecting with his subconscious mind, with reaching that theta stage. It's not easy to reach that particular stage. Not everybody can reach that particular stage. So it all effectively depends on the subject. We have seen cases where at times when the subject has been subjected to regression, he's just not been able to connect with his, reach the theta stage in that sense. So different subjects have shown different responses to the regression procedure. Not necessary that every regression attempt would succeed. It's a very subjective phenomenon. Nobody has had 100% success rate in past life regression, but still it has been observed and it has been seen that more often than not, yes, when people have not found an answer anywhere else to their unexplained habits or fear, psychosis or phobia, they have often found an answer, a solution to the same through past life regression. So now that takes us to the next question. What is the role of a hypnotherapist or a hypnotist? What does he actually do? Does a hypnotherapist have the ability to control your subconscious mind? There are lots of myths associated with people controlling, a hypnotist being able to control somebody else's subconscious mind or gaining access over it or gaining control over it. Well, let me put to rest all these misconceptions or assumptions over here. Firstly, here it is to be understood there are two things here. One is a hypnotherapist and one is a hypnotist. A hypnotherapist is a person who only aids subjects to connect with their subconscious mind. We now know what the subconscious mind is, but at times you need a guru or a facilitator who can guide you and help your body connect with the subconscious. So that's the role of a hypnotherapist. He only helps his clients or his patients understand how to connect with the subconscious mind, and his job is to take his client through that whole process and help the client connect with the subconscious mind. That's it. That's the role of a hypnotherapist. And the subconscious mind is such, as I said, it's like a pitcher which has so much in store for you. It's like a jar of, it's like a booty of wealth for you. So a lot of your problems, a lot of your issues, especially mental ailments, find a partial healing or a complete healing when you start connecting with your subconscious mind. So a hypnotherapist does not really heal you or cure you. It is you who cure or heal yourself. The hypnotherapist is only a facilitator to help you understand how to connect with the subconscious mind. And a hypnotist is one who is a professional magician who uses illusions, various techniques of magic and other related stuff to help you or to make you or to fool you into seeing something which does not exist. But that is illusion. Illusion is different from gaining control over somebody's mind or somebody's body. Gaining control on somebody's mind or body is also theoretically possible, but that's possible only for people who have attained the delta or the gamma stage. For normal human beings, I said there are 5 stages. We have only discussed beta, alpha and theta here. There is also a delta stage and a gamma stage. Delta and gamma stage cannot be very easily explored by a normal samsaric human being. You need to be a practitioner of very advanced and very difficult yogic exercises, mind control exercises, to attain a level where you go beyond the theta levels and reach the delta or the gamma level while you are awake. The delta level is still reachable, the gamma level is extremely difficult to attain, and that's where most great people who have taken samadhi themselves have reached that particular stage where they could then move into the samadhi mode. So the delta and the gamma stage are things which are beyond normal human beings. Yes, there are practitioners of the same as well in this world, people who have attained that particular level, but these kind of people who have those siddhis after they have attained the delta and the gamma level will generally not come before the world or showcase their possessions before the world. They live within their own set of discipline, rules and regulation. They are elevated souls in any case and not easily accessible to common mankind. So a hypnotist is merely a person who plays games which are like tricks of the hand. He's a person who creates illusions through magical tricks. Generally a hypnotist would not have attained the delta or the gamma levels. Having said that, yes, exceptions are always possible. So a hypnotherapist is a healer. A hypnotist is a person who creates illusions with trick of hands and magic, which is momentary. It has nothing generally to do with the delta and the gamma stage, and the delta and the gamma stage are the lesser explored variants of attaining mind power. Once you have conquered your subconscious, reach the theta stage, and while you are awake, if you can connect with the theta, reach the theta stage, you have attained significant mastery and gained access to your subconscious mind. In fact, there are different ways to reach the theta stage while you are awake. Hypnosis is the easiest way to do it. That's why I pursued the path of hypnosis. There are other ways also, like intense meditation or certain yogic exercises, certain yogic pranayams. Those are also ways and means of doing it, but I found this path the easiest and the most scientific and sure shot way to connect with the subconscious. That's where I am also a hypnotherapist. So that clears the doubt vis-a-vis a hypnotherapist, a hypnotist, and somebody who can gain control on your mind and body through his power. That is possible only with people who have very high siddhis and who have been able to exploit the delta and the gamma levels, which is beyond the reach of normal man. Right? So with that, I wrap up this particular video. Here I have explained, just to kind of summarize, I have explained what the conscious mind is, what the subconscious mind is. Then I explained to you briefly about what is past life regression and how healers use past life regression to rid some people, some subjects out of their phobias, fears and troubles. Last but not the least, we understood what is hypnosis and the role of a hypnotherapist as also the role of a hypnotist. If you like this video, please click on the like icon below this video. Also click on the subscribe button if you have not already subscribed to my channel. Click the bell button as well so that you can receive future notifications from my channel whenever I have uploaded a video. Goes without saying, please propagate this channel to your loved ones. This is a very authentic platform to share knowledge and intense knowledge for seekers, people who seek answers to their questions. You will generally not find these kind of sharings on any other YouTube channel or any other book. This is a translation of my 20 years of intense research on the subject matter. I'm using this platform now as a one-to-many medium to reach out to the world at large. So my earnest request to you, please propagate this channel and help me increase my reach so that I can help more and more people. Thank you so much for watching this video, liking it, subscribing to my channel. May God bless you. Have a wonderful life ahead. Thank you so much.